If you ask most people who has caused them the deepest pain in life, the answer usually isn't an enemy. It's someone they loved. Why? Because many of us unknowingly enter relationships believing that love is something another person gives us, something that fills the emptiness we feel inside. We meet someone who makes us feel seen, chosen, or emotionally alive, and before long, we begin relying on them to keep that feeling going. Without realizing it, love turns into emotional dependence. The problem isn't loving someone deeply. The problem is expecting another person to become the source of your emotional stability. That's a job no human being can consistently do. Psychology calls this externalizing emotional regulation. When our sense of security, worth, or happiness depends on another person's affection, attention, or approval, our emotional state becomes tied to their behavior. If they're loving, we feel whole. If they pull away, change, or simply have their own struggles, we feel abandoned, anxious, or empty. That's where so much relationship pain begins. Love doesn't become painful because love itself hurts. It becomes painful when we expect another person to constantly supply what we haven't learned to cultivate within ourselves. Think of it this way. Imagine using a vacuum cleaner. It doesn't only pick up the dirt, it picks up everything in its path. Emotional dependence works much the same way. When you're desperately looking to someone else to make you feel loved, you don't just absorb their kindness, affection, and reassurance. You also absorb their fears, insecurities, moods, doubts, and emotional instability. Their highs become your highs. Their lows become your lows. Suddenly, your inner world is no longer yours. You're carrying emotions that were never yours to manage. Healthy love flows differently. Instead of constantly asking, "Am I receiving enough love?" the healthier question becomes, "Am I bringing love into this relationship from a place of emotional fullness?" This doesn't mean rejecting love or pretending you don't need anyone. Humans are wired for connection. We all need closeness, affection, and support. But connection is very different from dependency. When your emotional well-being isn't hanging by someone else's choices, you're free to enjoy love rather than cling to it. You appreciate affection without panicking when it isn't expressed exactly the way you hoped. You can care deeply without losing yourself. Ironically, this is when relationships become healthier. The less you expect someone else to complete you, the more room they have to simply be human. Real love isn't about finding someone to fill your emotional cup every day. It's about learning to carry your own, so whatever another person pours into it becomes a gift, not a necessity. The direction of love matters. When you're constantly trying to pull love from someone else, you'll always fear losing the source. When love begins within you, through self-respect, emotional security, and a grounded sense of self, you naturally have more to give, and you're far less likely to lose yourself in the process. That's not becoming less loving. It's becoming emotionally free.